We some sexy motherfuckers, they some sexy motherfuckers. We some sexy motherfuckers, they some sexy motherfuckers. They some sexy motherfuckers, they some sexy motherfuckers. We some sexy motherfuckers, they the gentlemen with cocktails. Yeah!
Aloha, everyone. We are live and inspired today. I am one of your hosts, Barry Cobra, also known as Handsome Cobra, and my other host.
This is Chris Schwartzlander, OG nerd, creator of the Tripping Over Reality series. I'm happy to see you, and I cannot wait till you send me that piece of fine introduction music so that we can put some background on it.
I put a little stank on
have
it.
My boy put a little, have my son put a little stank on, a little funk on it.
A little slap in the bass, man. But as you may,
bass, little something like that.
As you may find people see, we have a very special guest. Our very special guest today is Doug Adams. He is an auctioneer. He does Golden Age, Silver Age, and does a taste of bronze. Doug, how's it going today?
It's great. How's everybody doing? I love that intro music. The FBI's coming to my house after I hear that, you know?
All right.
Doing good. We are not ready for prime time.
You know, I don't know if I should compare you guys to the Justy Smollett story. I don't know what's going on, you know?
No.
It's great to be here.
It is good to have you, sir. It's good to have you. While Mr. Doug is on today, we will those of you who are who have subscribed to the channel and are currently watching the show, it will be giving away a couple of comic books. Thanks to Doug. And do you have those comics in front of you, sir?
I sure do. They're right here. In fact, I'm going to pull them out of their mylars to give everybody a good look. Now, these are two of Len Wein's and Herb Trimp's best work. This is Hulk 204 and 205. Oh, wow. Both beautiful. Pages are nice, high grade. Now, there's a major difference between 204 and 205, where Herb Trimp did the cover and the artwork on 204. 205's artwork was by Sal Buscema. And really nice work.
That's really, a cool cover.
Yeah, it really is cool. You know,
real chunky. That's nice. I like that.
And I have both of these slabbed in 9.6. And I wanted to give you, you know, some of your fans a look and a taste of a couple of really nice Bronze Age books.
Okay, cool.
They're beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, they are gorgeous.
I like them.
The Hulk is a pretty endearing character. His popularity has grown since the movies. He wasn't as hot when Eric Bana played
Yeah, I think he was much prettier than the actual Hulk. It's like people want to see Bana more than the actual big green CGI fist. So.
Without a doubt. You know, and of course, you know, Lou Ferrigno will always be considered, I think, the best. And but Ed Norton's done a good job, and Mark Ruffalo's done a good job. And I think that the Avenger movies has all of a sudden skyrocketed the character. And I think that it's been, in the collectible market, it's super hot, obviously. Everyone seems to love the character now. He's kind of misunderstood, but I think that he's evolved to a certain extent.
He has. I really like, I've always really liked the Hulk. He was always popular when I was younger. Of course, you know, when you say his popularity has grown, he was always huge in comic circles, especially, you know, back in the 70s and 80s. You know, that misunderstood outcast that was angry at everything. And weren't we all that when we were teens? I mean, we were all outcast. We were all angry, it seemed, about certain things. So I think he was very relatable. And I see that a lot of younger kids like him too, because, you know, he throws a tantrum and he destroys everything. So,
you know,
I'm sure that they can really relate to him.
You know, what I like about the character and, you know, the writing is the fact that he was truly one of the first anti-establishment heroes. The government was always out to hunting him down, and they were shooting at him, and he just kind of wanted to be left alone, kind of like those people where you live, Chris. They want to be left alone up there on that mountain. You know what I mean? They don't want government intruding. And
that's why I moved.
I'm
telling you, the government on my property.
And it's very, very rare. You know, when you look at some of the old DC and the old Charlton comic books about the war, we were always portrayed American soldiers as great soldiers. But I think General Thunderbolt Ross was the first one that everybody hated. You know, his hunting of the Hulk from issue number 6 all the way until, you know, today is no one ever liked him. I thought that in the movie, the actor who played him from The Big Chill, what was his name?
John Hurt.
What was his name?
William Hurt.
William Hurt. I thought he played him excellent. I really did.
He really did. He really did. I like Sam Elliott's take on him too. But Thunderbolt Ross was around since Incredible Hulk #1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't think he started chasing him until 5 or 6, I think.
It was. I mean, he was involved, and you know, when the Hulk appeared, he just happened to be in the area. It wasn't like he was hunting him; he was there.
I think they kind of.
He used to call Banner a milksop, and I loved that.
I remember. I think that when they put Glenn Talbot in, when they introduced Glenn Talbot, he was going to be the foil to Thunderbolt Ross. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Great writing.
So good.
Amazing writing.
Stan Lee did some amazing writing. I know that, you know, a lot of people give him crap about, you know, how he scripted stuff. He would script, he'd give it to Kirby, tell him what he wanted. Kirby would give him the story, you know, drawn out, and then he would add the dialogue, which was, you know, the Marvel method. But it worked. And you know, co-creators working together like that is phenomenal. It always comes up with something incredible, you know, if they work well together, and they definitely worked well together.
There's always talk about Stan and his relationship with the artists and how they were paid piecemeal, you know, by the page, and they worked together great. They were an amazing group of artists. You know, and the only one that is older than Stan, the oldest one now out there is Alan Bellman. He's the last one. Alan is 93. We met Alan in Florida a while back. He did Captain America. Really? The early Captain America. He knew them all. He would never say a bad word about Stan, even though he never got the wealth or the riches. But his amazing artist. He did a picture. A drawing for us of Captain America banging the heads of Tojo, Mussolini, and Hitler.
Oh, that's awesome.
He drew he banged all 3 of their heads together. Great work by Alan. He was over 90 when he did the work. It took him a while, but he's still a great artist.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, you want to give away that first book, Greg?
We sure can.
Well, I'm trying to see if there's anybody in the chat right now. So right now, I don't believe so. But that's all right. I see that. That's why I've been kind of quiet. So I'm just trying to make certain.
That's unusual.
I know, but it's okay. It's okay.
Well, then I'm going to answer the question.
Okay, well, there you go.
No.
So, Doug, have you seen? Are you a big person of the Marvel movies?
I'm a big fan of Marvel and DC movies.
Really? Did you see? Did you see
cool.
Infinity War yet?
Which one?
you see Avengers Infinity War yet?
Yes, we have. Yes.
How'd you like
Isn't
that?
it great?
Well, people were crying in the theater.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that the next one coming up is going to be a blockbuster. You know that there was a trivia question on one of the New York stations. What are the 3 most popular grossing movies of all time? And it was Avatar, Titanic, and the original Avengers, which topped out at 1.8 billion. I think Black Panther might pass it with sales on video and that kind of stuff. But who'd ever thought that a superhero movie would make that kind of money?
Yeah. Well, Black Panther actually has, I believe, surpassed.
Has it passed already?
Yeah, it's past the Avengers, at least in the movie theater, like the original Avengers. I know that Infinity War is the highest grossing Marvel movie. Now, all time, I think Avatar still is, but that was because of like 3D, and that was when like 3D was a big thing. I never got into that. I mean, I saw Avatar.
I hated Avatar. I hated it.
Well, it's like Pocahontas.
Unobtainium, the worst freaking movie ever written.
You know,
what's this magical element? Unobtainium. You're an idiot.
I kind of find it funny because I don't think that the founding fathers of comics, and I always compare Stan Lee to George Washington and Kirby to Jefferson, you know what I mean? And I don't think they would ever have foresaw what they created and the amount of money generated by these movies. Yeah. I saw a great interview with Alec Baldwin, and he said that he played the Shadow. You remember Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, he was great.
Oh, yeah, I got the collector's edition on that on Blu-ray. I love it.
It's so funny because he said that it doesn't make a difference. There's not going to be any more Gone with the Winds or Inherit the Wind, any classic movies anymore, because everybody wants to do superhero movies. That's where the money is. People want the escapism. And guys, like, if you can pay a man like Robert Downey Jr. 25 to 30 million to do the Avengers, why would anybody want to do a classic from Plato or Sartre or Kafka? Nobody wants them anymore. It just doesn't happen anymore. So now you have these studios paying a fortune. I mean, to these artists, these actors. Amazing to me.
If you had asked Stan, back in the 70s and 80s, he would have actually compared his work to Kafka and Shakespeare and the like. I don't think he knew what he was doing, but I think he knew what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? I think he knew he was writing something special.
As a nice Jewish boy from Brooklyn, I can tell you that 90% of the comic industry was started by Jewish guys. Of course,
absolutely.
It wasn't Stan Lee, it was Stan Lieber, you know what I mean? And a lot of these guys were broke, and a lot of them died broke, because they didn't have the expertise to deal with a lot of these big companies and distributors who had lawyers, things like that. Look, it took a lawsuit against Stan Lee that finally got the Kirby estate settled with his wife and children, I read a very interesting article by Todd McFarlane. He was talking about how he felt that the early artists were ripped off and that they were taken advantage of by these big companies, and these are, of course, the creative Superman and that kind of thing too. And it was and that he wouldn't allow it. He wouldn't allow his work to be taken advantage of, and that he was going to be paid not by the piece, but by how many comics actually sold. And that's how these guys have done it, over the years now.
Yeah, and I've always made this argument that I don't feel like they were necessarily ripped off, because they were pay to play. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were getting into. There was no surprise there. However, I think it's greedy of DC, Warner Brothers, or Marvel, Disney now, to not have given these guys royalties after they saw how much money they were making.
Yep.
I mean, it's one thing to work pay to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing to make a company millions of dollars and not see any sort of royalties for that. And that's kind of ridiculous, you know. And I think that whole thing's kind of been solved, hopefully. I know that people continue to push for writers and authors or artists' rights, and I think that needs to continue. But you know, just don't sign a contract if you don't think you're going to make any money off of it.
So I'm guessing you weren't a big fan of when Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee got them like $1 million contracts.
Well, you know what? They had some very good.
Me?
Yeah.
They had some very good lawyers. No. There was a very good interview when Howard Stern had Stan Lee on right after Spider-Man #1 came on. And he said to Stan, he said, Stan, how much you getting for Spider-Man 1? And Stan said, I got $10,000 for the rights to Spider-Man 1. And Howard Stern looked over and said, are you fucking kidding me? He said, you've got to be kidding me. He said, you need and this is the exact words, you need a nice Jewish lawyer. And he said, I'm going to send you to my lawyer, who happened to be Art Buchwald, a very, very famous New York.
Damn. Yeah, I'm familiar with Art Buchwald.
For number 2, he got $10 million for number 2.
Holy jeez.
They renegotiated the contract. And of course, Art Buchwald passed away since then. But that was one of the last things he did for Stan Lee, is get him what he truly deserved. You know what I mean?
And I agree with that. I mean, that's his IP. That's his intellectual property. I feel personally, that like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby are a bit different than the creators of Superman, Simon and
Siegel and Schuster.
Siegel and Schuster, in that Marvel would have collapsed had it not been for Stan Lee. You know what I mean? It would have just gone by the wayside. What was that?
Very smart businessman.
Yeah, it would have, had he not stepped up, did Fantastic Four, and just ran the whole Marvel age. Marvel would have went in the hole. DC would have eventually found a way, because they were doing national periodicals at the time. They were doing a lot of reprints of old strip series, and then they got into their like detective stuff, and you know, Dr. Occult, who actually predated Superman, appeared, and they would have eventually stumbled upon something that would have made them big. Now, I'm not taking away from the creators of Superman, because without them, DC never would have gotten a launch as early as they had. I mean, they are the originators of superheroes in comic books.
Did you guys ever see the check that was paid to Schuster? And
no,
it was a classic
what
picture.
Was it like?
National Publications paid him $163 for the rights to Superman. The picture of the check has circulated over the years, and you know, I find it amazing, because if you listen to if you read some of the transcripts and some of the things that Jack Kirby's daughter said about her father, even Kirby's wife said he wasn't a businessman; he was an artist. There was a major difference. She said, and yeah, she knew he was taking advantage of her. She felt he was, you know, and he loved the art more than he loved the money. Thus why he died broke, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Now, of course, Stan Lee settled, and they got a lot of money back, but he never lived to enjoy it, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I mean, I always saw like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby as like Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. I mean, you know, like Wozniak was the real brains of the operation, while Steve Jobs was basically the more showman. I mean, he was a smart dude too. You know, I'm not taking anything away from Steve Jobs, but you know, Wozniak was the brains. I mean, he, you know,
well, Jobs was the face. He was the you know, he was the huckster, like Stan Lee was a huckster, man. Yeah, I mean, he was a carnival barker. I mean, he got out there and made you want to buy what he was shilling. Mm-hmm. That was what he did, and because of that skill, he catapulted Marvel to the front of all comic companies, you know, especially in the 70s and 80s. I mean, you know, 70s to mid 80s, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Is that a cookie?
That's a cookie. Sydney made me a chocolate chip cookie first.
Can't sneak no cookies on here.
But I have to tell you that, no, I have a lot of old Batman and old Superman, some early stuff. And I compare them to a lot of the Marvel early stuff. And the artwork is so incredibly different. And the storyline is so different than the two companies. But you know, when I got a lot of respect for DC when Stan Lee died, and they put that thing in the back cover of all their books. You know, saying how sorry they were and how much what a giant he was in the industry. You know what I mean? It was kind of a classy thing to do. You know?
Oh, that was really cool that they did that. You know, I don't think it's really fair to compare early DC work to early Marvel work, though, because you're looking at, you know, 20 years difference.
Yep. I do love the Batman character. I've been pretty happy with that series Gotham.
Yeah, I like it.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, it has like the Elseworlds flavor to it.
I do enjoy it. This is the last season of it, isn't it?
Yeah, season 5. Yeah.
They're talking about bringing a Batman series right after it. They're talking about it.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
It will be the logical way to go.
I think so too.
Like I just oh, go ahead, man.
No, you.
Oh, okay. Like see, I've been watching that Umbrella Academy by Gerard Way. He wrote Doom Patrol for Young Animal, which is a product of or an imprint of DC. I mean, they did away with the Young Animal because they had like Mother Panic. They had Doom Patrol. They brought that back, and it's actually been really good. It's on Netflix right now. I think it dropped last Friday, but yeah, it's been pretty solid. It's based off of the actual Dark Horse book.
Hello,
I'm here.
Yeah, we're here. You good?
I'm good. Chris, you with
us? Chris is just stuck in frame.
He's stuck in frame. I'm sitting here drinking my beer.
I know. But yeah, it's been really good. I don't know if you ever got into.
Haven't seen it yet.
If you have Netflix, I mean, I would say give it a shot because it's really cool. Because the Umbrella Academy, it's set around, it's like October 23rd, like 1989. 42 women were.
Well, damn.
Hello.
Are you back there, Chris?
I dropped out. But yeah, 42 women mysteriously give birth to babies just out of the blue, like divine intervention, immaculate conception, and a billionaire. I want to say he's from like England, and he acquires 7 of these babies, and he basically trains them underneath the logo of the Umbrella Academy. Like they have they don't really have names; they have numbers. I mean, they're given names later by their robotic mother, Grace, or they just call her Mom. And they're basically from all. Hey, what's up, man? You back? But they're from all walks of life. One's from America, another one's from Russia, and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend it. Give it a shot.
I will. Take a look at it. You with us there, Chris?
Probably your internet being in the mountains, man.
I think so.
You gotta get that city folk interwebs.
Actually, Maine is pretty much the same way. It's a pretty rural state, so we also have our internet issues too.
Yeah, I've been there way back, many moons ago, when I was a wee little lad. But yeah, and he dropped out.
But the I think that the comic book industry, and every time a movie comes out, we see a bump in comic prices, and every time a new character is introduced or a character dies, we see a bump in comic prices.
Yeah.
There's no telling how far a collector can go now if he's got some of the old stuff, especially. So the early stuff like something like this here, which I'm going to give you a quick look at right now.
Oh yeah, please.
Hold on 1 second. Let me.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. We are good.
Tales to Astonish.
Mm-hmm.
The Human Top. Kirby and Ditko together. I mean, a lot of the books that we're seeing now that are skyrocketing in price are from these artists that most people don't even know about. And what's amazing about these comic book shows is you're standing at your booth with a whole bunch of old gold and silver, and a 19-year-old kid will come over and say, how much is that early Tales of Suspense? And you'll say, well, it's about $600. And they take the money out of their pockets in cash. And you say, and I always say, do your father know what you're buying? He says, and they would say, no, it's for me. I'm a collector. And a lot of new people in the game now are getting in, younger kids who just love the artwork of these early artists, And a lot of these guys didn't take themselves seriously, especially a guy like Steve Ditko. Yeah, before I don't know if you know this story, but he lived in Manhattan. And he was a neighbor of a man named Larry Storch, who played Corporal Agon in F Troop.
Really?
And they used to sit in Central Park and feed the pigeons. Now, Larry's still alive. He's 95 now. And they used to go down to Central Park and walk around. And comic book fans would come up to Steve Ditko and they would say, I love your work, but he would never sign an autograph. He would never. He'd say, thank you very much, that kind of thing, but would never sign. People would, because he had legions of fans that wanted his autograph and wanted to thank him and everything. But he became very, very reclusive over the years. And but I was happy to know that he didn't die broke, that he had $5 million in the bank when he went.
That's always good.
I was happy to hear that. He had left a nice estate to his family and everything. And he stayed very thin all the way to the end, and he was just an amazing artist. I think the early Ditko work he did for Charlton and some of those early science fiction mystery books. Mm-hmm. He made the aliens look kind of all strange. It's great stuff, great work. Now, you know what? When I go into a comic book store now, I'll see 15 covers of the same issue, or a blank cover or something like that. And I'll say, what? And the comic book dealer will say to me, well, I'm charging $4 a book, and it cost me $2 from Diamond, the distributor. Yeah. And people are coming in and they're buying tons of these variants, but it's the same. It's actually the same book, when you open it up. I think the industry has changed dramatically, just dramatically.
I will say, okay, so I understand what you're getting at. And yeah, I mean, it's basically what happened in the 90s. I mean, you have like the foil covers, you have all these like crazy ridiculousness of covers, like the fold out covers, or you like X-Men #1, right, by Jim Lee and Chris Claremont, back in like 90, 91. And it's like you had to buy like all these #1s and to put them together, unless if you bought like the ridiculous like $10 one that had just the fold out. Now I will say this: there are some, like, I love Alex Ross, so he's like one of my favorite.
He's a good artist. I met him at New York Comic Con.
Did you really? Oh my god, that's so good, so cool. But yeah, I love his artwork. Like him, I met Steve Epting when I was on leave back in I want to say 07, 06. He was at MegaCon in Orlando, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and because he did because I love like the Bucky cap, like when Steve Rogers died the first time after Civil War, and I actually have the I think it's issue 34, but Alex Ross did a cover of that, and that was a variant. So I'm willing to because I have the original cover, and then I found that one, the Alex Ross one, for like $1, and I already had it before too, but like it was just I was just at a show, and the guy was like, "Hey man, it's $1 bin." I'm like, "You sure you want this?" And it was in good condition. It was just, but it's like a modern book, or considered a modern. So I mean, usually they're not really worth anything. But I have like in back of me, I have on my bookshelf, I have the Justice Society Justice Society of America number 25, where Mary Marvel is turns evil, and she teams up with the Black Adam family.
Mm-hmm.
And then on my bookshelf, like I have from the new movie coming out, the Shazam movie, on top is Shazam, and then Mary Marvel on the bottom, and then on the other side of the Justice League of Society number 25 is Justice, the one that Alex Ross did, and I think it's Jim Kruger.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love the Shazam character because I have Shazam #1 slabbed.
Really? See, like I grew up with him like as Captain Marvel, from the whole, that's like but because I usually say Captain Marvel Billy Batson, or I'll say Captain Marvel Carol Danvers.
Mm-hmm.
And but then I'll say Shazam too, just because some people don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But Captain Marvel, I'm like, well, yeah, the first Captain Marvel, like from Fawcett, it's like the guy who outsold Superman, because back in the day they were selling it as like, hey, instead of seeing and going on an adventure with your favorite superhero, Superman, you can actually be your favorite superhero, Captain Marvel, and then that's when DC got in, sued Fawcett for basically saying that this is an analog of our character, and they went bankrupt, and that's when, but they never trademarked the character.
We need to get you, Greg, involved in something like this.
Oh my gosh.
This is the first Whiplash.
Is it really?
Yep.
That's
the first
cool.
Whiplash, graded 9.0, white pages.
That's awesome.
Isn't that an awesome book?
Yeah, that looks. I love. Who did the art for that?
The artwork on this is Jack Kirby and Joe Sineth.
Really?
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
beautiful stuff.
Whiplash looks awesome. Like,
I love that. That role pulled Mickey Rourke out of the gutter.
Yeah, I know. Everyone I love. What's his name? Oh, shoot. Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer. I love that movie. That is like my favorite Iron Man movie, because I love when he goes out, he starts doing a little dance and stuff at the end.
That was a great flick, and Robert Downey said that he's such a consummate professional, Mickey Rourke. He read the comic a few times. He sat with artists, and he sat with writers from Marvel. He wanted to get a real take on what kind of character he was and everything. I just kind of love the way Mickey Rourke played that role.
Yeah, I did too. I loved him in what was it, The Expendables, the first one as Tool. I liked him in The Wrestler. I thought he was great in that.
Actually, he credits the Marvel role in Whiplash jumping him to The Wrestler. He was
really?
With that, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of exciting, that these movies command such amazing actors, from Meryl Streep to Robert Downey to Jr. Just some great actors. When I think about, I saw an interview with Christopher Nolan from the Batman series. Mm-hmm. Now, the agreement that they were going to do with that Dark Knight series was they were only going to do 3 movies. No matter what anybody said, they were only going to do 3 movies, no matter how much money they'd offered them. And the Nolan brothers decided they would do the 3, and they'd gotten together with Christian Bale and they were talking about having a lunch together in San Francisco, and they said they agreed that they would do the three. Christian Bale finished the third. He said he wouldn't do it anymore, and they offered him $60 million to come back again for one more movie. And he turns. Imagine an actor offering 60 and turning it down yet. $60 million. Now, Frederick Mark and Clark Gable and John Wayne, they must be rolling in their graves at what these actors are paid today to do fantasy movies, science fiction, which is what comic books are. You know what I mean? Fantasy movies. Mm-hmm. It's amazing to me. Just amazing.
I mean, yeah, and that's. I mean, I remember like. I know a lot of people say that the '89 Batman is like real campy and stuff, but I love Michael Keaton as Batman. Like I did watch like at Nick at Night and stuff, the '66 Batman with Adam West and Burt Ward and stuff like that. But that was never my Batman because I grew up in the early '80s and the late '80s as well, and so when '89 Batman came out, I remember my mom, she took me and my little brother Carl to see that in the movie theater because she and I remember us watching like Superman 4: The Quest for Peace 2 because she was so in love with Christopher Reeve. She was like, I mean, like if Christopher Reeve asked her to marry him, like she probably would have, said, "All right, Richard, my pops," and like, yeah, we're getting a divorce, and I'm going with old Studley Dudley over here.
I'm an original Superman purist, so I love the George Reeve. I have the whole series, on DVD and everything. And even in those days, it was a pretty complicated business because the woman who played Lois Lane, Phyllis Coates, in the original series. Mm-hmm. They weren't happy with her role. She played the Lois Lane role exactly the way it was written, and very hard-edged reporter, wouldn't take any crap, and they wanted to camp it up. So they asked her to camp it, and she refused. And so they brought this Noel Neill on, who would be the next Lois Lane on that series, and she was kind of more fun, than what you'd see from a Phyllis Coates, very stern type of Lois Lane, in the first early episodes. And to me, that was an amazing series. I thought that those early Superman TV shows were just fabulous. For Michael Keaton, I thought he played a great Batman. I thought Jack Nicholson. Listen, Heath Ledger was my favorite. I thought he was the best. Okay. I was at New York Comic Con when they sold his signature for $175,000 to a Japanese businessman. He only signed 100 comic books before he died, Heath Ledger. And this was a gorgeous one, 9.9 slab by CGC with just his name on it. And they sold it for a fortune because that was an amazing talent, a tremendous loss.
Well, see, that's the thing too. Is that I like Heath Ledger. There's a movie a lot of people kind of pan, like the critics pan, but I really like this. It's called The Four Feathers. It has him in it. I believe he was in Ned Kelly, if I'm not mistaken. I know he was in like A Knight's Tale, with Alan Tudyk and Mark Abbey. He was also in the movie The Order. I love where he plays a priest. I've never
seen the movie. Very good flick.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and I know that his most, I think it's 10 Things I Hate About You. That's when he was like a high school kid and stuff like that, or playing a high school kid. But yeah, I thought he was a phenomenal actor. But my favorite, out of the Nolan trilogy, my favorite is actually Dark Knight Rises. And I used to date a lady, her favorite was Dark Knight Rises too, which is awesome.
Great stuff.
Yeah, and because I love Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy, I'm so jazzed that he's the new Mad Max. I'm looking forward to him. He was supposed to play Rick Flag in the Suicide Squad and turned it down. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever seen a movie called Locke with him, Locke. That's a really good one. The Drop, him and James Gandolfini, one of James Gandolfini's last roles. It's actually, I believe it's based off of a Dennis Lehane short story. I want to say the guy who did Mystic River and Gone Baby Gone.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah,
some great, this superhero industry and this movie industry. It's been a big boon for the comic book dealers, obviously, but it's created a whole new generation of lovers of this kind of artwork and genre. And I think that there's a lot of old guys like me in their 60s who, cling to the Kirby and the Ditkos and the Gene Colans and things like that. But it's just there's so many new great artists out there and great actors who are just grabbing these roles up. Alec Baldwin was right though when he said that these movies now, when he did The Shadow, that movie made $12 in the theaters. You know what I mean? It just
that was like 2 of that.
When I saw the interview, he was laughing about it and kidding around, and he said, I think just me and my mother went to the movie to see it, and
see, I remember because they had I cannot remember the actor, but he won an academy because he was what was it, Genghis Khan's descendant.
Mm-hmm.
And he played the villain in it. And okay, Chris is. I just saw a. Sorry, got distracted. Chris is trying to test his interwebs. But yeah, I actually have that. I have that movie on Blu-ray, the collector's edition, where they have not Marg. Yeah, the lady who played Margot, or okay, Chris is okay. Hold on, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I'm here.
All right. But yeah, Margot Lang and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I thought it was great.
He will tell you that it didn't make it. The movie didn't make budget. They didn't make enough of it. But if you want to look at the old Shadow from the Golden Age comics, they're worth a fortune. You have to give up. You have to give up half of your house to buy the old Shadows from the early Golden Age stuff. For some reason, it just didn't click. It's the same thing with Dick Tracy. So Dick Tracy, high-grade Dick Tracy books from the 30s and 40s are worth a fortune. Yet Warren Beatty will tell you that they didn't break even on the Dick Tracy movie with Madonna.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that flick?
I did. I saw it in a week there, man. I remember. Yeah, yeah, that was because she played what was it? I mean, the villain. Yeah, No Face or I can't remember.
Two-Face. Wasn't there a Two-Face character in there?
No. There was the Blank, I think, or
and flat. Wasn't there a Flat Top?
Yeah, Flat. Yeah, and there was Mumbles. What's his name? Dustin Hoffman played Mumbles.
Yeah. I thought that was a great flick. I love that flick.
I did too.
They panned that flick big time.
Yeah, I mean that was just one of those things where I don't know. It was just, I guess it goes back to the whole thing of being campy and stuff like that, and just well, you know who in the original '89 Batman, you know who they wanted to play Batman? Bruce Wayne, right?
No, who?
Bill Murray.
Yes, I heard that. I heard that a few years back. I didn't remember. I did hear that.
Yeah.
I think Michael Keaton was better.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Because I remember, man, like, see, I didn't see Mr. Mom when that came out. I saw Clean and Sober because my mom, she really loved that movie, and that's where he showed his like dramatic chop. So I remember being like a little kid watching that. And I'm like, and people talking about him like, oh yeah, you know, that's cool. And that's like when people talked about like Heath Ledger, they were like, the guy from Knight's Tale, you know, 10 Things I Hate About You. This guy, gonna be the Joker? Are you kidding me? It's like, and well, that's like, well, see, I remember too, like '89 Batman, like Jack Nicholson actually had top billing on that because you see Nicholson, Keaton.
Well, you have to remember that Nicholson has been a big star a long time.
Oh yeah.
All the way from his early days at Carnal Knowledge with Anne Margaret. You know what I mean? He was a monster star. You know, and he was good. I thought he was a good Joker. I thought he did a good job in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I thought, yeah. There's like so many quotable lines from him. That, just, like I love it.
I can't remember who played the crime boss where he shook his hand. You remember? And I don't remember. Very famous actor played the crime boss. Been around a long time, an old timer. And I love that Batman flick. You know what I mean? I really do.
We got a live one here.
Yeah, we got You gotta love it. I don't think anybody delivers a line better than Jack Nicholson. You know, when the time comes, because I know I've seen interviews with him with Johnny Carson and things like that. Old interviews where he says he does a lot of improv and a lot of things that directors always get mad because he kind of does things different his own way. You know what I mean? But good stuff, great stuff. You know?
Yeah, like I love the line. He's like, Batman, what kind of world do we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all my press? This town needs an enema.
I know you must be enjoying the Gotham series, huh?
You know, like, okay, so I don't have cable, but I do have Netflix, and I watched the first 3 seasons, and I gotta say, I felt when they cloned Bruce Wayne, I kind of fell off. I was like, okay, this is. I mean, I love Elseworlds. Like, I have Speeding Bullets, where Kal-El gets adopted by the Wayne family, and later on they have a son, Bruce, but Kal-El becomes, well, he's actually Bruce Wayne, and then he becomes Batman, and then at the end he becomes Superman. I love Elseworld books as the next person, but some of that stuff I'm just like, okay, that's cool, and I'm like, yeah, no.
Sometimes they tend to take a little bit more poetic license when they're doing these scripts.
Well, that's like, I love, like, I don't know if you like Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, like their run on Batman when they did the New 52. Like, I will say I did like the Jerome and Jeremiah thing where they were twin brothers. I kind of did like that where they took liberties with Jerome from the New 52 where the Joker cut off his face, because I actually have that book, Detective Comics #1 of the New 52, when the Doll Man like cut his face off, and then they said that I know, like in the series, like Jeremiah is supposed to be, I guess, the real Joker and not proto Joker like Jerome was. So, but I mean, have you been enjoying that series?
A little bit. You know what I mean? I've gotten into a lot of the kind of reading the new stuff. And Chris just messaged me. Let's see what Chris just said here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's been. he said
he's having technical difficulty.
Yeah,
that isn't a surprise, you know. That isn't a surprise.
Yeah, he's saying still waiting for it to come back up. Please have patience.
But I have,
Chris, we are here for you, bud. And
I have to say that that I'm fascinated by popularity of certain series. Now, my son and I, and my wife are pretty big fans of The Walking Dead, and I've actually met him, Robert Kirkman, at the shows. You know what I mean? And
really,
and even he laughs at the popularity of it, and. It's just an amazing series that seems to be. Now, I know they're only going to do another year after this.
Oh, are they really? Okay.
Well, Robert Kirkman said he won the Capit at 10 years.
Okay.
He thought 10 years was enough.
They're not going to do like was it Bonanza or Gunsmoke going for like 12?
You know, but The Walking Dead #1, you have to mortgage your house to get it now. It's
really
scary.
Well, yeah. Well, I know number two. Number two is actually even more than number one because they did fewer copies of number two than they did number one. So because that's how they kind of judge. Because like I was told this by a dealer where some like depending like because number ones even back in the day like you would order a lot, but depending on how well that sold, that's how you set up for number two. And then so well like with Walking Dead's like an anomaly because number one, Robert Kirkman never sold it as a zombie story. Two, well, he sold it as like a zombie story, but it's supposed to be like alien invaders and stuff like that. It's supposed to be an alien book. And then so, but he said to Image, oh yeah, we're gonna have like little Easter eggs in here and it was only supposed to be like 6 issues.
Yeah.
And peppered in, and then the was the Valentino at the time was like, okay, man, where's the peppering in? He's like, oh yeah, I totally lied, you know, but you know, it's straight up zombie. And then the trajectory of the book, I can't even speak, went up so high that they were like, well, you know, well, let's do another 6 issues, you know. And I mean, and then the thing with the number one is that they only printed, I think, like 500 copies, if I'm not mistaken.
Very short, very low print run.
Yeah, and also too, it's like they did it in black and white because they weren't really given a budget, except for I think they did the cover in color, and Tony, and also too like Tony Moore, which I think is a better artist than was it Charlie Adler, I think it's Adler. Like I actually like Tony Moore. I have the first volume of that, and I thought it was pretty good. And then I have like the second volume too, but I didn't. I'm like I love zombie stuff. Like I love Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, especially like the director's cut. I thought he did a phenomenal job. I know a lot of people give him shit for Man of Steel. I actually love Man of Steel. I thought Kevin Costner was a great Jonathan Kent, and Diane Lane being Martha Kent. I thought they did phenomenal jobs. I just didn't like the whole thing of the way that Henry Cavill played Clark as a younger Clark, and just kind of and like what I loved about the original Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve was that, and Marlon Brando, is that he has all this great power, right? I mean, he can basically turn back time by just spinning it, by just going fast and spinning the world around, but he can't save his father from dying from natural causes like a heart attack. You know, that's what I loved about that. Where this one, it's like the dude just says, "Hey, you know, stay back." First, he gets in a fight with his father, saying, "You're not my dad," you know, and that's just kind of heartbreaking right there. It's like, man, and you know, Chris has said before, well, you know, number one, you know, he said it out of anger, teenage angst, and it's like, I understand that, you know, but it's just, and also too, it's a modern telling of Superman. I just, you know, like Christopher Reeve will always be my Superman.
Yeah.
So that's like, I love Gary Frank. Gary Frank's a great artist. And when he draws Superman, he draws Christopher Reeve Superman. And because I have the what is it, the Secret Origins, him, Jeff Johns, and Gary Frank did that, where they retold Superman's origins. And I love that book so much because it's straight up Christopher Reeve Superman. That's like, even in the new Doomsday Clock, you have Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, listen, I'm going to say goodbye to you because I'm going to go have dinner.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry we didn't give away the books. I mean,
well, I'm going to send you guys the 2 books because this book I owe for Chris. This was a gift.
Okay.
He's going to love. So I'm going to send those 2 books, and I'd like you to use them on your next show.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much.
And I'll definitely attend. You know what I mean? And you know, I love the idea. I love talking comics. It's a great thing. It really is a great medium, and it's truly an American medium. You know.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, Doug, for coming on and doing this for us. I mean, I really do appreciate it. I'm sorry that Chris is having technical difficulties.
These things happen. These things happen. But let's keep in touch with me. And these books will go out on Monday, okay?
Okay.
All right. Hey, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too, Doug. Thank you.
Keep up the good work, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, everyone. That was Mr. Doug Adams. Sorry that we're totally having technical difficulties. But yeah. If I'll give Chris a little bit here, see if he can, because we've been going on for almost an hour, and see if he can get things going. But we only had one person in the chat. So, but as Doug said, what we'll probably do, we'll probably just give the books out to one or two lucky people for like either the next show, or we'll do something. We'll figure something out. You know, I feel so bad now. Doug is an amazing guy, and it was just so nice of him to do that for us, to come on the show and talk comics with us. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what I have read lately. See, okay, I will say the biggest disappointment, because Doomsday Clock #9 was supposed to come out, and they pushed it back again, and it's not coming out until March 3rd, so that sucks. So I gotta wait. So we have to wait 2 more weeks, which totally sucks. But I have seen the cover for number 11. Well, the variant, the 2 covers. One's a variant, and I really want the variant cover of Doomsday Clock #11, because you see Black Adam with an American flag, and he's ripping it in half, looking very cool. Also, too, in back of him is ISIS, I believe, on one side. You have the really giant woman, I think Giganta, or Giant Woman, Giganta, I don't know her name. Chris would know. And then you have the Creeper in the back, so kind of like, yeah, jumping. So, yeah. So kind of looking forward to that. Next week, was a Savage Sword of Conan #2 comes out. That sweet ass Alex Ross cover, baby. What else? See, it's been raining here in John City for like the last couple of weeks, or I mean, last couple of days. Well, yeah, it got rained a little bit last week too. But so like I haven't actually been able to go to comic book shop and pick up my comics. I need to read Venom #10, and #11 came out this week. Another one came out as well that Superior Spider-Man #3 comes out next week as well. Shazam #3 comes out. I'm totally looking forward to that. I can't wait for that one. But yeah, like I was telling Doug before, in the back you can see there's 2 Funko Pops. I got the Shazam and Mary Marvel ones for the new movie coming out with Zachary Levi as Captain Marvel, Billy Batson, or Shazam. And yeah, so it's it's one of those things where, oh yeah, it's really, really looking forward to that. What else? What else was going on? I am probably going to do another My Fonts video. I'm probably going to do it on one of my favorite movies. The Karate Kid. Woo! Johnny freaking Lawrence. So, yeah. Chris, you back?
Son of a bitch.
But yeah, hey, what's up, man? Yeah, Doug had to go,
Hello?
man. He said he was going to get some. Hey. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
The hell?
You good? And he dropped out again. Okay. Well, okay. We'll give Chris a little bit more time. And if this keeps on, I'm just going to close out. But no. I mean, it was really great. Thank you so much to Angie for stopping by in the chat, saying hello. I a little bit of a bummer that there wasn't more people. I figured there would be more people, so we could do the comic giveaway, because we had some trivia questions and stuff, and man, that totally sucked. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. We'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. But yeah, it was something. It was something. What's up, man? Hello? And he's frozen. Oh, okay. What else? So yeah, the my thoughts video I'm probably gonna do on the Karate Kid. I'm gonna rewatch that. I was gonna rewatch it here earlier this week, but I kind of got into the Umbrella Academy because a coworker of mine at GameStop actually told me that it's really good. So I was like, nah, because I mean, I saw it last week and that it had come out last Friday, and I was thinking about watching it, but I didn't. So, but yeah, so, and I'm almost, so I'll probably, and also probably too, I may do a review about that as well sometime. And yeah, I have a couple other things in the pipe that I kind of want to talk about. Yeah, certain things, that I find personal and stuff, and some things.
Why can I give up?
What's up, man? You here? Hello? Okay, so Chris is. So yeah, I'm gonna start winding this down because Chris is having technical difficulties. But yeah, like I was saying before, I'm probably going to. Hello. But yeah, so. Okay, but yeah, look forward to those videos coming out on the channel. And hey, I just want to say thank you so much to all the new subscribers. Thank you. We're actually currently rocking 25. Thank you so much, everybody. And hopefully we can get the channel to grow a little bit more, with all your support and stuff. I know that this one was kind of a crazy one. So I apologize in advance. So if you don't like
fucking shit show.
Hey, what's up, man? You back? Oh, you're back. Yeah, if you heard Chris, he said, "What a shit show," but it's totally cool. Hey, listen, look, man, it happens, but yeah, we will, as Gloria Gaynor would say, I will survive as long as I know how to love. I know I'll stay alive. I got all my life to live. I got all my love to give. I will survive. I will survive. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to start closing it out, and I'm going to say thank you so much, everybody who watched this video. Again, apologies, but please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, love to all, God bless, and you know the drill. Aloha. All right.